Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Pete First Anxiety. My guest today is a therapist, guide, and a companion on the path of healing. He works closely with people navigating trauma, identity, and the integration of psychedelic experience, helping them reconnect with the deep and unshakable truth of who they are. Please welcome in the host of the Hope for Humanity Psychedelic Podcast with Julian Berman. Julian, welcome in, man.
Pete, thanks for having me. Go by Pete Serial, did I see? Is that what that was?
Pete.
Pete's cool. All right.
Yeah, Cyril actually was my old handle I had on TikTok for a long time because it was based on the movie Hackers. Matthew Lear's character was serial killer, the guy that was kind of goofy and stuff. So it kind of felt like my personality felt in well with him. So that's what I was using for a long time. But no, it's just Pete.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, Pete.
Definitely, man. Why don't you tell a little more about yourself?
Yeah. What in particular would you like me to start with?
Anywhere you like, man. Just give us the full rundown, or brief over it. I'd love to know how you got to where you're at now. What was the journey of Julian? Where'd you start, and how did you end up where you're at now?
I mean, that's a whole podcast right there. I'll keep it short.
Okay.
I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and my parents were teenagers when I was born. And needless to say, they didn't want me, saw me as a burden, and more or less hated me. They were never together. And, in the first 10 years of my life, my mom got married 3 additional times and had 2 other kids with different people. So as you can see, I didn't have any protection. And with the low barriers or boundaries in my life, the doors were just wide open for all sorts of abuse. So I was on my own super early, and I was just carrying around such tremendous pain from this childhood. And when I got in my early 20s, I just said, that's enough. I can't do this anymore. I got to figure something out, or this isn't going to sustain much longer. And so I started trying to figure out what I can do. How can I transform my pain? How can I start to enjoy life a little bit, not want to kill myself? That would be nice. And that set me on just an incredible journey. As soon as I opened the door for that right there, and I started taking some accountability and some responsibility for my own experience, and I said, I'm going to be the one to make some changes here. I'm going to figure this out. Everything started opening up for me. That's not to say it was easy or that it was quick, but one thing led after the next, and there were trials after trials. And the more and more that I went deeper into the experience, and the more accountability I started taking for myself, and the more I engaged and participated with that pain rather than fighting it, trying to get rid of it, so on, the more I was able to really transform my experience. Once I hit a threshold, that's when people started coming to see me. So that's how I got where I'm at.
Yeah, damn, dude. Sounds like you've been on a hell of a ride since day one, man. Especially when you had parents that didn't want you and all the trauma and things you dealt with. Like when you were dealing with it, did people notice you were struggling though?
I wonder about that. I mean, so this is something I've dealt with a lot in my adulthood, which is I see that same abuse all over the place. I see kids going through the exact same things. What do you do? When you see an adult emotionally berating their child out in public,
Yeah.
and behind closed doors, they're much more physical with these kids.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What do? Do you go and intervene? Are you going to provide them with the insight and the inspiration to make changes right there? Or are you poking the hornet's nest? And is that child going to get it even worse now with that because somebody brought it to their attention? So it's a strange dynamic of what can you do when you see it? And I think I know people saw it because I talked to people as adults. And I talked to people when I was an adult, and they said, oh, dude, we saw this. We were terrified for you. We intervened this time, and we tried not to do that again. So I think it was something very similar. It's bad. And what can you do from the outside?
Exactly. That's a good question, though. Think about it, because I had a similar situation where people on the outside were trying to help, and both of them weren't successful at all. Man, one of them almost went crazy trying to get it all figured out because it was so rough of a situation. But I didn't see it, of course, because I have tunnel vision. I'm not seeing what's going on. They're trying to tell me, and then one of my friends actually he didn't give up on me. He's the one that eventually got me to realize what was going on. He just kept poking at me like, hey man, you got to look at what's going on around you. That's what he kept saying. Like, he's like, just think about what you're telling me now. He's like, think about the weird things are going on and see how weird they're not really at. See, like there's something it's trying to tell you. And like, he knew what was going on. So he's trying to tell me without telling me, because he was like, he knew I was hard headed and I wasn't listening to him. And he was just like, he kept going, and he's like, dude, just think about the things you're telling me. Just think about it for a minute. Look at what analyze everything that's being brought to you. So I could feel that you had people trying to help you. We're like, hey man, we tried to intervene. It was just, oh heck no. After that, we didn't want no part of that. So I get that
Yeah.
completely.
How old were you when that was happening?
Oh God, I was in my 20s.
Okay. So
Because
you're an adult here, and you're
yeah.
in a pattern of some sort of pain or suffering, and you have people trying to help you see that pattern, is what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know,
See,
it,
that can be
there
really
were
useful.
earlier signs too, though. There were
Hmm.
earlier signs of things I just didn't pick up on. Like
Yeah.
the sister made a comment, and she's like, "Hey, you're basically treating him like your servant, kind of thing." Her words were, "You treating him like he's your bitch, basically." And it didn't catch my head, but my aggressor got upset because she didn't want to hear that because her sister wasn't wrong because it was basically what it was like. I was being treated like I was her servant,
Hmm.
and not as her equal, as her partner kind of thing, And at first I should have caught that, and it was other things that just started adding up. And when I started playing them back later on, it's like, damn, dude, I should have noticed these things sooner. But you're blinded by love, as they say. You think it's love, but it's really not.
So this was a relationship that you're
It,
in.
yes, it was a
Yeah.
relationship with my ex who is the mother of my three children, basically.
Hmm.
So she and I early on, we were it was just rough. Like it was a lot of verbal abuse and things like that too. A lot of gaslighting and things like that she put me through.
Hmm.
She always made me look like I was the crazy person at the end of the day because she knew how to trigger me. So she would do it the perfect times and go, "Oh, look, he's being crazy. He's being crazy." Pointing out that, "Oh, I'm crazy," because she got me enraged right beforehand, not telling anybody the other part of that story.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
later on it came out, though, after we split up and found out she had cheated on me. I found out that some of her other friends knew about it, some mutual people I knew, but they were more her friends than mine and knew about it. And one of them was like, I want no part of this. Like if you're going to continue this action, I want no part of this. And I've always wondered what happened to that person, and then I found out what it was, and I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense now. I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah. See, when we get in these patterns like this, a lot of the times we mistake connection, compassion, attachment for these
Hmm.
patterns of abuse. So, a question that I like to ask in these situations is, was this the first time in your life where this pattern had emerged, where somebody was demeaning, berating, criticizing, evaluating, judging, and punishing you, and then making you out to be the reason why? Is that the first time that's ever happened?
Yeah, it was more when I was a kid too. My mom would always be really controlling, kind of. It's kind of like the
Hmm.
same relationship, like people make that joke, like you're dating your mother, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And it was funny because after her, it was I attracted. I was talking to another person who had similar traits, and it was like I was attracted to these things until I met my wife, and she broke the mold of the whole thing. Like nothing like any of these other people were very understanding of everything that's going on and things like that. But yeah, it was. I experienced some of it during the childhood too, a little bit. My mom was very abusive and verbally negative towards me, and all these other kind of things. And she abandoned me when I was 10. She literally took me to my dad's doorstep, dropped me off, and left me there for an hour for my dad to get home from work because he had to race home. And then all of a sudden wanted me to come back because she wasn't going to get child support for me. And I know it's probably stuff I shouldn't have been told as a kid, but it was like they were they were they weren't the greatest parents when it came to that kind of thing because I don't think you should have been telling a kid that stuff. Like they don't need to know those things. The dynamics between the two of y'all, if you are arguing about things like that, you shouldn't be bringing kids into that. It's not right.
Well, the kids are attuned to it, regardless of if you tell them or not.
Very true.
But so, from what you've told me, yeah, it sounds very similar. Your relationship with your mom, the abandonment, dropping you off like that, the abuse, all of these same patterns. And this is what I'm talking about right here is when we're kids, the attachment to our parents is the most important thing. We can't
Mm-hmm.
survive without it. We're immature, we're undeveloped, and we're dependent for the longest amount of time than we can see in any other species on this planet. So the attachment is first and foremost. Now, if your attachment as a child looks like what you just described with the various abuse, the evaluations, the judgments, the punishments, the exiling, the abandonment, all of those things, this is what connection and compassion and attachment looks like. We don't know anything outside of it. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not unmet needs here
Yeah.
because we have fundamental human needs that go unmet. So now, when you become an adult and you still have the pain from those unmet needs, and your view, your perception of connections looks like this previous relationship, It makes kind of a little bit of sense now why we find ourselves in those exact same patterns showing up again, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, 100%. It really does, you know. And I didn't see it, but now I see it for what it is. Like I said, my
Yeah.
wife now is a totally different person. She, like when I and her and I were started dating, it was different because she knew I was already just like traumatized from my past relationships, but she didn't react the same. And I think that's what threw me off at first. Is like she doesn't react the same way. She was like very understanding, understood my point of view of things, was very open to listen to what I was saying, you know. And it was like it was weird because I wasn't used to that kind of treatment, you know, and like you don't know how to react in those kind of situations a lot of times, you know, especially when you've been traumatized. And she's been through a lot too, honestly, too. So it was kind of like, you know, you have hers and I, you know, but she understood more. Hers was a crazier past. Like the things she's told me, oh my god, dude, hers was insane. Nothing similar to mine, but she was beyond mine. If anything, I'd have to say hers was worse than mine. But you know, the fact that way she approached our relationship was that she was very understanding of the things I've dealt with, and she even helped me deal with how to deal with her better. So like instead of getting these like text battles with my ex, I'm very strategic now how I respond to her. I think about what she's saying, I analyze it, and then I respond back with very little words. And it gets her so mad because she's like, oh, well, you tell your wife to stop texting me. And it's not my wife, it's me texting. So I just don't even engage that. I just laugh a bit because I'm just like, wow, like the fact that I'm not giving her a lot and she's getting so mad, it's kind of amusing because it's like you're not fueling the fire anymore and giving her anything to work with, you know, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. 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 When we have these wounds from childhood, from these unmet needs, we tend to look for the same love that we didn't get from people who can't give it to us. So we always end up marrying or finding ourselves in relationship with those same people, the people who are going to treat us exactly the way that we were treated originally, because we're looking for the love that we couldn't get from the people who can't give it to us. And so, yeah, you found yourself in that exact same pattern. And then when you left that pattern, when you became aware of it and somebody's actually listening to you, I don't know what to do with it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it felt like at first, man. It was just like it was weird. It's like, wait, you're listening to what I'm saying? Like, hold on. This is something new. I don't
This isn't right.
right, I don't like this. Hold on. Oh, you
Uh-huh.
know. And
Exactly.
it's interesting though
Exactly.
too because you know I don't think people realize how much trauma affected you. I didn't realize how much my trauma affected me. And being abandoned as a kid, I didn't realize how bad it was. But you know the ripple effect it caused through my life until I finally started seeking some help was just it was rough. You know the people I affected, my kids I affected, they had to go through hell with me and things like that too. You know we don't have a great relationship now, but that's my own fault because I should have taken care of these things sooner than later. But I didn't realize that what the root cause of a lot of it was is that one incident caused me to have such a bad effect on everything else. Like I was real bad anger issues. I'd had a short fuse, and anytime I felt like somebody was going to abandon me or leave, I just go into a complete panic mode. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I kept going back to that point and that feeling what it was like when it happened originally because I was so young, so I didn't really know what to think at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. You're describing the pain from the past continuing to show up in the present, and that's because it's unresolved.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense. We have various emotional circuits, and one of them is called the panic grief emotional circuit, often referred to as the call the loved ones home. This kicks in when your needs are not being met. So if you see it in a bird, for instance, a baby bird falls out of the nest, they start squawking, quack, quack, quack. And then the mother bird, my baby, they come, they grab the baby and bring them back to the nest. And then the panic resolves.
Yeah.
But what happens if our parents don't do that? Or if our parents are the ones who are causing the pain? Or even further, if our parents are actually really well meaning, well caring parents, but they're getting modern advice from the experts who say, don't hold your baby when they cry out. So this emotional circuit, the panic grief, is reaching this high baseline of activation and it never resolves, ever. And so that's the environment that our bodies develop into. That's what our nervous system develops to. That's what our emotional circuits develop into. That's what our perception of the world and ourselves develops in relationship to. So then later in life, I'm super activated all the time.
Yeah.
I can't do anything outside of that. So you were telling me a moment ago, I'd like to ask you a question here.
Yeah, go ahead.
You were telling me that this pain from your childhood has flowed through you onto your children, which of course it did. It's intergenerational patterns. This is the same pain that your mom had, and she learned it from somewhere. So she probably learned it from her parents, and so on. It goes through the generations. So this pain has flowed through you onto your children. My question is, what's your relationship to yourself when you see that happening?
It's a good question. I'm not even sure, honestly. I know I know that reflecting upon it, I don't like it. If I ever get that mad anymore now, I get mad at myself because I don't like that person I was,
Yeah.
and anytime it happens, I feel so like blah, it's like I just feel terrible because I'm like, oh, I don't even like it. Like even if I get upset with my wife and we have a disagreement and I
Hmm.
raise my voice, I don't like it either afterwards. I'm just like, I don't like myself. I get so mad, and I'm not mad at her, I'm mad at myself because I allowed myself to do the things that I don't like doing anymore. Now I realize that the after effect of what happened wasn't right in the first place,
Hmm.
so but that's a good question though. Damn.
Oh, you just answered it. You answered it really well. You don't like it. You
Yeah.
don't like yourself when you do that. You fight yourself. You judge yourself, criticize, evaluate yourself. You try to exile this part of you. You punish yourself. In other words, you're very harsh to yourself.
True.
So, on the one hand, you're carrying around tremendous pain from your childhood. And this pain is still very active. And it's trying to express itself. And there's defense mechanisms here based off of this pain trying to protect you. So, at the slightest cue that you're going to be abandoned, defenses
Mm-hmm.
activated. So, it's trying to protect you. And it comes bursting out the seams. And then it hurts the people around you. So, on the one hand, you have this tremendous pain that's underneath the surface that's coming out. And then on the other hand, you're treating yourself very harshly because of that. You're fighting yourself, judging yourself, evaluating, punishing yourself, exiling yourself. So you're getting a double whammy here. You're getting the pain from the past, you're getting the pain that your mother and everybody else had done to you, but then you're treating yourself in a very similar way.
True. True. I never even thought of it that way, but yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, honestly, without even like without even knowing anything. You already could tell that's what it is. That's what I do. I just beat myself up about it because I don't want to be that person anymore, and I didn't like that image of myself, and now I'm
Mm-hmm.
having to try and repair relationships with them,
Yeah.
and they don't even want to talk to me now as it is. I mean, they're just so mad at me because then you have the aggressor who's filling their head with, oh, he's this an evil person and this and that, and then I was exhibiting the things that she was saying, which wasn't helping anymore,
Yeah.
and now I have to deal with the aftermath, which is just, and I'm like, just wait until the perfect time to try and reconnect with them when they're ready to reconnect. And I think that's the hardest part, though, is for a lot of people don't realize is that when you're trying to wait, it's the worst time ever because you're just like, well, when is going to be time? You don't want to rush it because you don't want to rush it with them because you're gonna end up losing it completely, and they're gonna be like, no, I want nothing to do with you at all. But if you give them some time and space and just kind of do show that you've changed in some way, and things like that too. So like my brother sees him all the time and he talks to him and he's like, just give him a little time and things like that too. And the nice thing though is he works as a psychiatric nurse, so he knows a lot of this stuff too. So he kind of like he talks to him a little bit about it stuff, little by little, and he's like, he said that just gonna have to wait, man. It's the hardest part. It is. It's the hardest part. It's like
Yeah.
waiting to try and reconnect and tell them you're sorry and things like that too. And it's like you can only say you're sorry so many times to people. It's like now I'm doing something different. I've changed the way of do things. I'm trying to do something positive out of what
Mm-hmm.
it was a negative, and things like that too. And it's I think like I said, that's the hardest part is the waiting game. But I mean, I do have to give them time. I have to respect their time too, because that way they feel respected and they don't feel like I don't care about what their thoughts are or anything like that too. And all that kind of stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not so sure I agree
Okay.
with that approach. Let's come back to that in a moment,
Okay.
though. I wanted to ask. You said that
No, go ahead.
you beat yourself up. My question is, where'd you learn that? Where'd you learn to beat yourself up at?
I don't
Who'd
know.
you learn that from?
I don't know. That's a good question though. Because I don't know of anybody that I know that really verbally just kind of beats themselves up after doing something horrible like that.
Who beat you up verbally?
My mom beat me up verbally a lot. My
Okay,
my
so
dad would sometimes, not a lot really, but he
yeah,
was less of the aggressor. When
Okay.
my mom and him were together, though, he did have a real bad drinking problem for a bit
Yeah.
and things like
Okay.
that. So he would say things, and he
Yeah.
wasn't really the physical type. Like you could tell when he was mad, depending on what he said to you. Like the tone of his voice really played out how mad he was. My
Hmm.
mom, she was more of the person that would just start screaming and yelling at you and finding objects to hit you with, and all these random things. She just had the proverbial plastic spoon come after you, and then what she would say, like when she's mad, if she said your first name, you're gonna get shouted at. She says your first middle name, okay, you're gonna get smacked. If she says your first middle last name, okay, get ready for a beating, because that's what she just goes full off the handle, like just stomping on the ground. Dun, 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 dun. You could hear her stomping up the stairs
Yeah.
just to come up there and just wail on you after that point, and it was like you knew what was coming ahead of time based on those. My dad, he was a little more unpredictable. Like he was more of like the okay, I'll give you a swat or two at the belt, and then that's it. You don't do it again, kind of thing. Like he was just like, hey, you need to stop. That's it, and then we ended right there, kind of thing. And we were more, I
Yeah.
think we were more afraid of him than her, because he was like I said, he was very direct, and like he would give you a couple swats with his leather belt, and then that was it. He's like, that's it. We don't talk about this anymore after that point, and things like that. So
Pete, let me ask you, what are you feeling right now telling me this?
Uh, I'm feeling anxious, man. It's just like, ugh. I don't like that. I don't like remembering it. It's just, ugh. Makes me feel, ugh.
Okay. Ugh. Is that disgust?
Yeah, disgust. There you go.
Okay.
One
What
of the
else
words,
is here?
yes.
What else?
Just the fear of it. Like, it's like,
You're scared. It's scary. What exactly are you scared of?
I don't know. I think I'm like, I don't know what I'm afraid of anymore, because I'm an
Hmm.
adult now.
Okay. So there's just residual fear. What else is here? Does this make you mad?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's anger there too, isn't there?
Yeah.
And of course, this hurts really bad, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does, man, but I, I kind of get mad at myself, though, because I'm like, I did these things to my kids too, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's what I learned from them. Instead of,
Hmm.
fixing my problems, I let it becomes their problem too, and it wasn't fair to
Yeah.
them.
Okay. So these patterns from the past cause an emotional reaction of disgust, fear, anger, sadness, and shame. Shame being that you direct all of those emotions onto yourself and you beat yourself up over it. So, in other words, the patterns that originated from your childhood created these big emotional experiences. Those emotions are still here right now. We still have them. And you're treating yourself the exact same way that your parents treated you. You're beating yourself up. So this relationship that you're having with yourself is fueling those same emotions right there.
Yeah.
So now what our task is, what your task is to learn what to do with those emotions.
Okay.
So let me ask you a question. We'll
Yeah,
figure
go
that
ahead.
out together if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely do it.
When you were a kid, and when you were going through all this abuse, negligence, physical, emotional abuse, abandonment, being constantly ridiculed, judged, exiled, beaten, abused in all these different ways, what were the things that you really needed?
You know, to think about it, I needed to feel loved. I feel like, I
Hmm.
didn't hear "I love you" enough from my dad. I know it sounds weird, but it was
Yeah.
like he's something he does recently now. But it was just like I don't know, man. It was weird when he started saying it, because we were so used to kids. Like, as kids, we never heard
Hmm.
him really say much.
Yeah.
Like he
What
was
would
never
it
really
take?
home, so, and things like that
Yeah.
too. He was never really
Okay,
home with
great.
kids, so
So first of all, you need somebody to be present with you. He wasn't present. So
yeah.
in order for you to feel loved from somebody, first and foremost, they got to be there. Let's break this down. What would it take for you to feel loved from somebody?
And just somebody that cares, that is,
Okay.
things like
How
that.
can you receive that? What does being cared for look like?
Asking how I'm doing, if I look like I'm
Terrific.
down and things like that.
Okay, terrific. So first and foremost, being with you.
Yeah,
Then
feeling like they're present. You know what I mean? Like, people
yeah,
can be there with you, but like they
exactly.
may not always be with you, and it's kind of like,
Yes.
things like that too. And it's that thing I look for now, and it's
Yeah.
it's
So
hard sometimes.
perfect. So you need somebody to be attuned to your emotional experience, is what you're saying. They
Yes.
need to be physically present, but also emotionally present. So somebody to be there, and then somebody to see you and to listen to you and to understand what you're going through. So that way they can actually be connected to your experience. And then what? So they can see you, they understand, Pete, wow, you're really carrying around some pain. Now what?
That's a good question. Um, Damn, I really think about that one now.
Yeah.
It's I just feel like I think I want to touch on the thing where I felt like I've never been heard. I feel like
Yeah.
now people make a lot of comments like, "Oh, well, I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that you were so intelligent," because you never listened to me in the first place. It always felt like that was a big thing. Is that I never
Mm-hmm.
was really heard as a person because I spent a lot of
Yeah.
time by myself when my mom abandoned me. I moved in with my dad, and it was just me and him. But like I said, he was never really home,
Mm-hmm.
and the only
Yeah.
adult was home was his girlfriends at the time, or home, or whatever. I spent a lot of time by myself too. Like I come home and
Yeah.
I just needed somebody to listen. Like sometimes you just want somebody to just listen to what I have to say. But it felt like I was always alone because I was
Yeah.
alone. I really was. There was nobody else with me. It was just
Yeah. I really
me
needed somebody
solo.
to be with me and to listen to me. That's fantastic. Somebody to listen to me, to be attuned to me, to be connected to me.
Yeah,
How about some comfort?
that too.
How about some validation? Of course, Pete, of course you're angry. Of course you're sad. Of course you're scared. You were abandoned. Your parents were never there. They never listened to you. They only beat you and abused you. They didn't even know who you were. Of course you're ashamed. Of course those things are there. And would make perfect sense that they would be there. And it would be kind of concerning if they weren't there. We would have to find them if that were the case. So really good news is they're accessible.
Yeah,
And then how about some comfort? Right? As a parent, wouldn't you, or as a child, wouldn't you want your parent to scoop you up and to hold you and to comfort you physically and say, I'm so sorry you're going through this.
yeah,
Listen to me, Pete. You don't have to go through this alone anymore. I'm going to be here with you.
yeah,
And then they show up consistently.
yeah. No,
Okay.
I agree.
So those are all the things that you need. So when we see those emotions coming up, that anger that's right underneath the surface, the disgust, the that's right there, the fear, the shame, the beating myself up constantly, all of these are signals coming from your body. This is the pain from the past that's showing up here now. It's a sign, and it's saying, Pete, here are unmet needs, and this is an opportunity to meet those needs. The really good news is you just figured out exactly what those needs are.
Yeah,
So the next question is, who's the person who's got to meet those needs?
me.
Yeah. So when all of those emotions come up, when the memories, those intrusive, repetitive memories of all the things that happened come up, that's a new opportunity for you to meet those unmet needs for yourself. You have to be the person that didn't give you the needs. You got to meet those needs. You got to become the person that you needed that didn't show up,
Yeah.
and show up for yourself.
Listen, one question for you though. Maybe you can help
Mm-hmm.
me figure this out. For
Yeah.
whatever reason, I cannot just forgive my mom for letting me be just abandoned. Like I know it's
Yeah.
more of like I know she won't admit that she did wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but for myself, it's hard enough. I think that's the hardest thing I deal with is that I try to
Yeah.
get past it, but I just can't get over it. It's like that wall that just keeps extending
Yeah.
every time you try to get over it, and it's like
I hear you.
because she's made comments recently she wants to have a relationship, but like we've had a rocky going all the way up to where I'm now, where I'm 40 now. It's like we for 13 years didn't talk to each other because when I had my first daughter, she decided she wanted to scream at me on the phone and everything else. Given I'm 19, I was a kid. I didn't know better. I was a kid trying to raise a kid. And when I
Yeah.
called to tell her the news, she just like berated me. And
Yeah.
and whatever it was from there, I was just like, okay, well, I'm done. So I hung up the phone and I didn't talk to her for the longest time.
Sure. Sure. Okay. What does forgiveness mean to you? What exactly are you looking for if you want forgiveness?
I just don't. I just like I know what I want. I want her to admit she's wrong, but she won't ever do that. I mean, like I
Okay.
said, she won't ever do it. I know she won't
Yeah.
because she's never done it. And
Okay.
it's just like something I know that happens. It's just I
Yeah.
have to accept the fact that I just know it's not going to happen.
Okay. So you want something from her. This is
Yeah,
something that we want to be very much aware of, is when we need something from somebody else. Because if you need something from your mom, chances are she needs something from you. She wants a relationship with you. She's trying to get something.
yeah,
And chances are, if your relationship is strained with your children in the same way that your relationship with your mom is strained, chances are that you need something from them, and they absolutely need something from you, which
yeah,
is, of course, that's a dynamic. Children need things from their parents.
yeah,
So we want to be very aware of when we need something from somebody else. This is crucial, because if our peace, if our healing, if our resolution, autonomy, and liberation from these patterns is dependent on somebody else's actions, we're never going to get it.
yeah,
So this forgiveness can't be dependent on your mom acknowledging, accepting, and admitting that she fucked up.
yeah. I think that's the hardest part, though. Like you just said,
Mm-hmm.
is that me wanting her to give forgiveness. I think that's the only thing that's really holding it back.
Okay.
Because
So
I
let's
understand she
let's
wants
define
it.
this.
Okay.
Let's define this.
Okay.
Let's figure out, what does forgiveness look like? So
Okay.
the first thing that we came to, the first iteration, was she has to make a reconciliation and amends, because there's resentment here. The word resentment means to feel over again.
Yeah.
So we're feeling all of those same emotions over again. And I say we here because I have a very similar situation, so I completely understand what you're going through, which I'm sure you probably realized right away.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely. I think
so
it's great though that we have the same thing because we understand things on the same wavelength. So it's so
yeah,
comfortable talking to you about it because you get it. That's the difference versus someone else who doesn't get it. So I think that's
yeah,
why it's so easy to open up to you to tell you things because you understand and you've been there. You know what it's like.
yeah. I'd tell you all the stories. When you're telling me these, I'm like, oh yeah, I got a very similar version of those. But
Right?
we'll talk about that another time.
Definitely.
So the first iteration of the forgiveness is, I want some sort of amends
Mm-hmm.
from my mom, because I have the resentment. I keep feeling the same things over and over again. And if she could admit that she did these things, then I will feel some relief. So that was the first iteration. But then we realized, okay, we're dependent on an outcome here. And even if you got that, I mean, your dad's saying he loves you now. Is that providing the relief that you're looking for?
I think it's more weird to me now he says that all of
Yeah.
a sudden. It just throws
Yeah,
you off.
it's not what you're looking for.
No.
Yeah, that's not it. So even here's the spoiler of this whole thing, is even if your mom came and she said, you know what, Pete, I was terrible. I was a kid. I was in pain. I did all these things to you, and I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. Like, it's not going to take away the pain as much as we would like it to. So let's figure out, let's revisit the question. What needs to happen in order for forgiveness to occur? What is this forgiveness? And utilize those things that you said that you needed, those unmet needs. That's a very important key here.
You know, you know, I think that's where the cliffhanger is for me. Is I just don't know what I need from her. I just like I feel like even if she did say that, I'd still be bitter because all this the
Mm-hmm.
ripple effect of everything that's happened
Yeah, I
is
hear you.
just so great that it caused so much. You know, it's kind of like the butterfly effect. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
a butterfly's wings fluttering could cause a tsunami on their side of the world, kind of thing. And it was just,
Yeah,
it's just I don't know.
you're
It's
absolutely
just
right. You're absolutely right there. Her actions today are not going to do anything for the bitterness.
yeah,
You're absolutely right there. Okay, so the forgiveness it has nothing to do with her. We can just go ahead and take her right out of the equation.
okay,
She's free. She's free. She doesn't have to do anything for you, because there's nothing she can do for you at this point.
yeah,
Just like you said earlier, you're the person who has to do this. It's inside of you. It is inside of her too, but in her working on her own pain over there is her
yeah,
obligation, her responsibility. It's not your responsibility, just like right now, there's nothing that she can do for your pain.
yeah.
So what is it going to have to take for you to find forgiveness inside of you?
I don't know. See, I think that, like I said, I think that's the part that
Mhm.
trips me up is what is it that I'm
Yep.
holding on to still? If she can't do anything for me,
Yep.
why do I keep holding on to this?
Hmm. Well, you already answered this question earlier, and you were very articulate with it too. I beat myself up.
There you go. Yep.
I treat myself the exact same way that my mom treated me when this pain originated. So in other words, we're in a negative feedback loop that just keeps going around and round and round. Where I'm in this pain, I beat myself up because I'm in this pain, which causes more pain. So I beat myself up, and then round and round we go. So we could take your mother out of this equation,
Yeah.
but the pattern, the way that she treated you that caused all this pain is still very much at play. You're treating yourself that exact same way.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. So the question then is, how do I break that loop?
No, that's exactly right. So this is how we do it. Here's
Okay.
a practice. This is going to be your work.
Okay.
This is the work. This is what I do. This is what I help every one of the people, every client that I've ever worked with do the exact same thing. This has tremendous power in it. So jot this down. First thing is we're going to recognize when this pain gets activated.
Okay.
Awareness. It's the first step. If you want to make choices on what you're going to do with this pattern, you don't want this pain to come bursting out on your kids.
Yeah.
You don't want this pain to come bursting out on your partners. You don't want it to come bursting out on your family, your friends, anybody around you. No more. This pain's its sole obligation here is to spread out of you onto other people. And if you don't want to do that, first and foremost, we recognize it. We identify where it's at. Good
Yeah.
news is we found it super easy today. We don't have to look very far. It's right there, ready for you to engage with it. So we recognize it. Okay. The next step is going to probably be one of the most challenging ones for you because the other ones came pretty easy so far. We accept it.
Yeah.
We don't fight it. We don't beat it up. We don't evaluate it and judge it and criticize it and exile it and send it to its dad's house until it can regulate itself, and then it can come back and maybe be accepted when it's acceptable in the way that we want it to be. No, 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 no. We accept that it's here now. Carl Rogers, the famous psychologist, infamously said that the funny paradox is that only when I accept myself exactly as I am, not how I want to be, exactly as I am, that's when I have the ability to make changes. You needed somebody to see you when you were a kid, and you needed somebody to accept you and to be connected to you. So now you got to do that. You recognize the pain. Okay, there's the familiar pain. I accept that it's here. Well, accepting that it's here isn't going to do, I mean, it will provide some relief, but there's something else we got to do with it. So now what we want to try and do is ask some questions. Same questions we asked today. Where does this pain come from? What were the things I needed when this pain developed?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know where this pain's coming from. I know why it's here. There's a teaching here. There's a lesson. There's a wisdom. Now what I have to do is I have to nurture that pain by enacting all of those things that I needed. I'm going to nurture myself. I'm going to nurture this pain in the same ways that I needed that I didn't get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to listen to this pain. And I'm going to see the 10-year-old Pete. I'm going to see the 6-year-old, the 5-year-old, the 3-year-old who isn't getting any of his needs met. None of them. He's totally alone. He has nobody to talk to about any of this. He's isolated. He has so many big emotions and nobody there to show him how to navigate those emotions, to show him how to express those emotions. In fact, if you would have expressed your emotions, I bet it would have threatened your situation even more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you have to sit there and say, wow, there's the anger. I'm so mad that nobody ever listened to me. I'm going to listen to that anger. Whoa, there's so much fear here. I'm so scared of being abandoned. I really needed somebody to be with me, to hold me and to comfort me. I'm going to hold this fear. I'm going to comfort this 3-year-old, this 6-year-old, this 10-year-old version of me. I'm going to be so present with him that he feels safe. Oh my gosh, there's so much pain underneath there. There's so much hurt and so many wounds. And I need to be seen and comforted in all these ways. I'm going to keep paying attention to this hurt inside of me. That's it. So what you do is you build a practice where you start with what you can do. You say 5 minutes and you do it 3 times a day. So at the end of the day, you spend 15 minutes doing this. Now, I don't know about you, but I spend way more than 15 minutes doing stupid things like watching silly videos on YouTube that make me anxious and angry and sad, that don't serve me in any way.
Yep.
So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to take 15 minutes, 5 minutes at the beginning of the day, 5 minutes in the middle of the day, and 5 minutes at the end of the day. No screens, no distractions. You just sit in a room alone and you close your eyes and you turn your attention inward to where that pain lives. And you say, I see you. You don't have to go through this alone. I'm going to be here and I'm going to listen. And you do it for as long as you can. If you can do 10 minutes, great. If you can do 15 minutes, even better. And then you try and increase the frequency, so you do it more often, and you increase the duration. You do it as long as you can. And the goal is that you do it all throughout the day. So when you're talking to me here and you realize, ooh, there's some anger that got activated, you can immediately say, I see you. I see you while you're upset. That's the pain from the past showing up here. It's not that anything's happening now that's going to make me angry. And if I don't work with this pain or this anger, it's going to come bursting out the seams onto whoever I'm interacting with. So it's my responsibility to work with that anger now.
I think that's a key point you just said. It's your responsibility. I think not enough people take responsibility for their own actions.
Yeah.
I feel like especially when it comes in those moments of just outbursts and things like that too, it's like you have to accept sometimes you're the aggressor that is doing those things, even though you don't like that aggressor. And I've had that situation happen. In fact, that's what got me to do some talk therapy in the beginning, to start actually before I started this podcast too. Is what it started this podcast, was that this self-discovery journey, was that I had bursted out on my partner, and the way she responded, like, don't mind you that she's normally a very aggressive person when it comes to things, and it's just how she is, but this time she was very just like subtle. She said okay, and whatever she said, it just went like, whoa, it hit me in the soul, like, whoa, hold on, you just fucked up big time, bud. You need to take a reality check and do something before you
Yeah.
self-destruct and cause another problem for somebody that isn't like your exes and things like that. And it's all the thoughts that go through your head. It's like, it was just that moment. It hit you like a soul wave just hit you, and you're like, whoa, hold on, wait, I don't like what that was. I don't like how she responded, because how she responded, I was like, ooh, hold on, wait, I don't like that. She normally she'll aggressively, she'll say something back, but at that point she was just like, okay. And the way she said it was just like, it was like, I think I felt my 10-year-old self again right there for a minute, because I could just like hear that inner voice of okay, like, like a little kid's voice going, okay, like whoa, I just did something to her that my mom did to me, that my inner
Yeah.
self didn't even like. And then it was like, and that's what started this whole journey that I'm on now. And when I, like I said, though, of self-discovery and things like that too, and I'm learning more about myself every episode. Every guest I meet is a new adventure that we go down different paths. Like, you're actually the second guest now that's been more interested in me than us doing an interview, which I love, because it's like people get a little more insight to who I am and the things about myself, because I don't talk about my past a lot, but I've been getting better at it. It gets easier
Yeah.
every time I do it and things like that too. So I love it when the interviews kind of go wherever they go. I love it, because that's the whole reason of these conversations that I have with people, is that, I'm learning new things. Like, now I know to go practice, talking to my inner self, trying to, say, listen, I see you. Like, I understand
Yeah.
that's what you need. You need to be seen. And a lot of
Yeah.
times, when what you just said, it makes sense, because when I get upset, I'll sit there quietly in a room and not say anything and just kind of like zone out, and basically just start talking to myself about, well, hey, well, listen, let's play back where we fucked up here. Hold on, let's play it back when we, and things like that too. And then I
Yeah.
turn around and I'll apologize, I'm sorry for what I did. But it's like, you can only say sorry so much
You
before
got to make some changes.
yeah, exactly. No,
Now,
exactly.
what I'll really encourage you to try and do is try to really get to know this anger
Okay.
that you're talking about, this destructive anger, this very hurtful anger This anger itself is a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
You feel anger when you're threatened. So if I'm walking down a trail, for instance, and I come across a bobcat and she has a litter of kittens, a den with all
Yeah.
of her little cubs there, she's going to see me as a threat. And what's she going to do, do you think?
Get aggressive.
The claws and teeth are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when somebody crosses a boundary and creates a threat, this anger comes out. That happened to you chronically, habitually. That was your whole life when you were developing. So
Yeah.
your anger emotional circuit is up here. It's always activated. It's always perceiving threats. And so when you get angry and then you judge that anger and you criticize and evaluate and punish that anger, well, now it found its threat. And so round and round it'll go and it'll just keep building up snowball style. So when you see that anger, try to recognize it as a protector. Somebody who has been with you since the very beginning. A loyal friend who's also danger prone, who you don't want driving the car that you're in. Always shows up anytime you need some help. Whenever you got to move some furniture, whenever your car breaks down, this is the friend that's there before you can call anybody else. He shows up just like that. And you don't want him driving the car or changing the tire. You can do that. So you take control, you drive the car. And this little kid, because it developed when you were a little kid,
Mm-hmm.
you can just tuck him into the car seat or maybe hold him and comfort him and value that he's here and he's trying to help you out. But also let this kid start to rest.
Mm-hmm.
That defense mechanism, it's not necessary anymore. What this little child deserves now is to be cared for and taken care of so he can rest. And that's your job.
Yep. Once again, it falls back into the responsibility thing too. You're right. It's something I need to take responsibility for, and
Yeah,
and I think that's the hard part too. Is like when my wife likes to call me out when I do things, and I hate being wrong. Like everybody hates being wrong,
of
but
course.
she's so good at it, man. Like I gotta say, dude, she is so good at it. But it makes sense at the end of the day, though. What she's saying isn't wrong. She's like, "Hold up, you're doing you're doing too much. You need to, She'll like say it in her own way, and then it's like I sit there and think about it for a minute. I'm like, she's right. She's not wrong, dude. Hold it. What are we getting mad about? She's just pointing out all the facts, and she's like, "Oh, you don't like it when I point out that you're wrong, huh? Don't you?" And it's like, no, you're not wrong. In my head, I'm thinking, "No, you're wrong," but I'm getting more angry for no reason because
Yeah.
all she's doing is pointing out what exactly she's seeing happen. You're like, "Hey,
Now there's
listen."
a reason there. There's a reason. It's a threat. You being wrong is dangerous. What happened when you were a kid and you were wrong? Spoons are coming out. You're going to get beat.
Mm-hmm.
See? Being wrong is a threat. And so you get very angry to make
Mm-hmm.
yourself big because if you could be right in this situation, then you're powerful and you can't be hurt.
True. That's
So
100% true. That's exactly what
so
I'm thinking too.
the threat, the anger is to protect you because there's a fear of getting hurt. There's pain underneath this. So if you could just get straight to I'm scared because I'm going to get hurt. And I actually already am hurt. I'm carrying around tremendous pain. And if you can start to acknowledge and accept that this pain is underneath the surface, that anger, it's not so necessary anymore.
Yeah.
And it can dissipate very quickly if you can just get to wow, I'm just in so much pain. And I'm scared that you're going to abandon me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
This is all super important, Pete.
It is. Oh no, I
Because
think it is.
because if these patterns stay in place, the defense mechanisms coming up, the anger, the fear, the pain that's underneath there, if these all stay in place and your relationship with them is one of harshness, continuing that conflict, whenever your kids try to engage with you, that's what they're going to see, is these patterns are still in place.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a relationship with them, they don't have to be there. They can't be the ones who are going to come and fix anything to make that relationship.
Yeah.
What you're responsible for is changing those patterns that are inside of you.
Yeah.
to cultivate the ability, the awareness to recognize them, and then the ability to make choices, the agency, and liberate yourself from them. Choose something new. Create patterns of safety, of expression, of attunement, being connected to your experience and other people's experiences. So that way they're safe to come to you and say, you know what, Dad, I'm fucking pissed. You hurt me. And then you could say, I fucking know it. I'm so sorry. I was hurt the same way and I didn't know any better. We're
Yeah.
all in this together. And I'm so sorry. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
And the more that you can show them that that's the case, and the more that you develop that practice, the safer and the more likely or enticing perhaps it will be for them to want to come to you. Because you want to have a relationship with your mom, you just don't know what it is, and you kind of want the validation from her. I want a relationship with my parents, but I can't have those toxic behaviors that still haven't changed whatsoever.
Yeah.
They have to start to do the work themselves. And when they do that, hey, I don't know about you, but the door's open for me.
Right. Yeah. True. Very true.
And that's what I was saying. I don't fully agree with giving them time. That's not what we're doing here. We're not just going to let time play out, let the years run by, and then the next thing you know, they're 40
Yeah.
and they're still looking like, when is anything going to happen? I mean, I'm, same age as you pretty much. And my parents, when is anything going to be different? No, I think they're taking it to the grave. But you and I are different. We don't have to do that. And we can show the next generation that we're making changes right now.
Yeah, exactly. And being men too is another thing. I think that the stigma around men's just mental health in general, men conversation. I think that the whole argument of alpha male comes out. I would like your thoughts on this one. Okay, so I'm thinking if you're the alpha male, if you're not in tune with your emotions, how are you the alpha male then? Like, yes, society tells us the alpha male is the big, strong guy, the top dog, but what if the top dog could be in tune with his emotions too? Don't you think that would be the absolute? That would be the alpha male to me. Would you not agree with that?
Well, yeah, of course. But that's not what we're taught. We're
Yeah,
taught
exactly.
that we're taught that if you're wounded, you got hurt in childhood like you and I did, and you have beliefs of unworthiness. I'm not good enough. I'm not deserving. I'm not capable of being loved. I'm going to be abandoned constantly. Well, then you just make yourself big and grandiose, and you go and assert yourself and attack the other person first, because if you can attack them, that means you're right. And if you can be right, you're powerful. And if you're powerful, you can't be hurt. And if you can make yourself big enough and grandiose enough and go and get the other person before they get you, you can rise to the highest levels of corporate and government political power in the world. You can become the president of the United States if that's the case. So it's highly glorified, highly rewarded to be like that. But yeah, I completely agree with you. When that happens, we have traumatized people traumatizing people on a massive scale.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Social media makes it even worse now because you got to think you could reach more people in a faster rate with all the toxicity of things that you're saying to people. And it's just, oh my God, we've all
Yeah.
scrolled to those videos where you see those guys fear mongering something they've decided to choose. Oh, well, you
Yeah.
can't talk about your feelings because but I do
Oh, yeah.
like, though, the fact you see some of these guys that perceive that big statue of things, and when they break it down, they start talking about things like mental health, and it
Sure.
feels good because it's like we need more of those guys. We need less of these proverbial dickhead alpha males out there that
Yeah.
just because you're bigger and meaner than everybody means that your voice is louder,
Sure.
kind of
Well,
thing. So,
don't underestimate these tech companies either. They're
mhm.
hiring some of the best neuroscientists and psychologists in the world to come and work for their companies to
Oh
make
yeah.
their platforms as addictive as possible and to be
Hmm.
as emotionally manipulative as possible. This is really well known. They have been doing this for, decades at this point. They are actively programming society through these platforms. So when we see all of those toxic messages getting put out there, that's very intentional.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's up to us. I mean, we could say algorithms are being, we're diluted with all of the AI content that's coming out and all this stuff, and then the companies don't want this type of content, but it's still getting found. People are watching your episodes. People are coming and finding me on these things. We're getting the information out there, so we can't control the powers that be, and they are very powerful.
Hmm.
But we can, on a larger scale, keep doing what we're doing. When we start taking responsibility for ourselves, this is how the world changes. Jiddu Krishnamurti said perfectly that if you want to change the world, start with changing yourself. Because the world and society changes naturally and inevitably when we as individuals start changing.
I love it. That's a great quote too. That yeah, that's a great quote. I love that, man. That's awesome. But yeah, I just like I unplug though. Like, see, there's the thing. I've found my solution to social medias and things. I literally unplug. There's weeks, or sometimes I'll do what I have to do, and then I'll just unplug completely. I'll put my phone down, turn it on
Sure.
silent, whatever I got to do to get away from it.
It's very
I usually
important.
dedicate my time to when my wife gets home from work during the week. I'll not even be on my phone. I try not to be,
Hmm.
and I'll literally, when she says something to me, literally, what is it? I'll literally just take it and put it where my phone. I don't know where my phone's ever to say, but when I put it screen down, like when she starts talking, screen goes down instantly. That way, I'm
Yeah.
listening, active listening to what she's doing. These are things I
Yeah.
never would do before, but I started
Hmm.
developing. Because I see, that these are bad habits I'm picking up. So, if I
Yeah.
can get this anger in the inner part of me go in the right direction as well, as I'm going to work on going forward, then we'll making more progress too, and then I can rebuild that relationship with the kids, and when they come to me and see that I'm not the same person I used to be, then they can make the decision for themselves who I really am at that point, versus
Yeah.
listening to everybody else.
That's right. And you can show them. They don't have to come to you to find it. You can show them, hey, I'm making transformations over here. I'm cultivating safety and it's open for you to come in whenever you want. I
Exactly.
can't say that I won't hurt you, but I will do everything in my power to recognize those patterns that have hurt you and to make choices to not let those hurt you again.
True.
And I'm getting better at active listening. And I want to listen to you. I want to hear how I hurt you. I want you to come and tell me all the things that you've wanted to say that you've kept bottled up. I want you to know it's safe for that expression. Once you start to get these things in place, I mean, if your mom would have come to you 10 years ago and said, you know what, Pete, I'm so sorry. I really, really did a number here and I hurt you in these ways. I see it and I'm open to hearing how deeply I hurt you in other ways. I want to hear it from your perspective and it's safe. I want you to tell me it. I mean, what do you think would have happened then?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think that Pete. Oh no, that Pete would have not reacted the same way this Pete would now. I think
Yeah.
the old Pete was still angry, and the anger was still really really strong at that time. When I was, like I
Hmm.
said, if I look back and laugh at the way I used to act like now
Yeah.
versus what I did before,
Yeah.
and it was just
Notice if
like,
there's a judgment here.
yeah,
Notice if you're being harsh to yourself because that part of you still lives inside of you. It's still there.
yeah,
So notice if you're evaluating him, judging him, and criticizing.
true,
You were very angry. Of course. You're still very angry. Of course. I'm very angry. And at that point in our lives, it might have come just bursting out the seams. But if your mother came to you and said, it's safe, come and express it to me. Oh my goodness. We don't have
I
to judge that anger anymore. We don't
I
have to
don't.
criticize it. It's welcome.
I think the only thing I would be tense about was be like, okay, so when is this going to self destruct? I think would be the other message that pops in my head when you say that, because I'm like,
Hmm.
if she were to come to me and say that, I think I'd be like, okay, so when is this going to all crumble down? Because you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Like that would be
What
the first
emotion is
initial.
that?
That's my fear right there. Just
That's
like fear of
fear.
it
Yeah.
breaking down. Is like,
Yeah.
when is this gonna turn to like off the fucking rails? Basically, what are we
Yeah.
going off the rails at this point?
That's the fear of
Now,
abandonment.
but now the Pete now, I have a better. I do take a little more thought into what I do now. Like I try
Yeah.
to analyze things before I say things now.
Sure.
And I have my wife also gets on my ass about things too. Like I used to be the type of person I'm very reactive. Now it's like if I start like I get caught in the moment or something, she's like, you better stop, because like she can tell me in the other room and know exactly what I'm doing in the room, and that's a great connection I have with her. It's like, you better stop what you're doing right now, because she knows exactly what I'm doing out there,
Sure.
because
Sure.
we play a lot of games together and things like that too, and like you want always want to respond to these people sending hateful messages to you, and she'll always catch me before I start saying something. What are you doing out there? I know you're doing something. You're getting quiet. What are you texting? She's like, you better stop. And she's not even in the same room, not even looking your general direction, going, you better stop. I know what you're doing out there. It's like she could spider sense what I'm doing.
Yeah.
you know. But I love it though, and it's great because I try not to be so reactive anymore. I analyze things. Like I don't let it get so my anger take over like I used to. Like, you know, even
Yeah.
if I would have met myself 10 years ago, I would have seen this, so how angry I was, and been like, you know, you don't have to be so angry anymore. It's okay. Like, she's not here to harm you, kind of thing. You know, like, you know,
Sure.
try and tell yourself that, and it's hard, but you know, it's the it's what self discovery is about, though. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, I have to work on talking to my that inner child that needs that love that I didn't get as a kid, and let them know that, you know,
Hmm.
hey, listen, Pete's still here, Big Pete's still here,
Yeah.
man. You may be in
Yeah.
there, but we're not alone. This is a united front.
Yeah. I'll give you one more pointer here.
Okay.
And I don't want to oversaturate you with all the things here, but this is more of something to look for as you progress and you go
Okay.
down this, which is to understand it. First of all, when you're a kid and you're going through this pain, what do you do with the pain? How do you navigate it? You can't set boundaries with it. You can't say, Mom, you know what? Stop treating me like that. I don't
Yeah.
deserve this. Of course, you don't even know that that's an option. And if you did express it like that, oh, look out.
Right.
Yeah, right. Oh, you're angry?
Yep.
I'll give you something to be angry about.
Exactly.
So you can't set boundaries. You can't go away physically, although even at 10 years old, we were both shipped around and abandoned and disconnected, even before then. So we left pretty early in age, but you can't just go and pack up and leave and go and start a life in Bali. So you can't set boundaries. You can't go away physically. There's only one other option of what we can do. We go away mentally. We check out. We disconnect from those feelings. We disconnect from the present moment. We're not here anymore. We're up here in the mind, constantly thinking, creating these fantasy worlds, creating these fantasy narratives, reliving things from the past, or fantasizing or being anxious about things in the future. We're distracting ourselves with constant activities to go up into this mental world to disconnect from the physical moment, from the physical feelings, from being present here and now. So when this anger's here, or when this pain and this fear's here, it's great to start with I'm going to have the conversation with myself here. I'm going to talk myself through this. But this is still a dimension or a flavor, a shade of that same defense mechanism of being very mental. So what I'm going to really encourage you to do is try to notice that defense mechanism, this pattern, this survival mechanism here of going away mentally, and try to come back into the body and tap into those feelings and say, oh my gosh, there's the anger in my chest. My heart is throbbing right now. My breathing is constricted. My muscles are tense. Oh, and feel into that in the body and spend some time with it, just paying attention to it. You don't have to talk to it. You don't have to make sense of it. Just be with it and maybe try and hold it. Oh my God, my stomach's in knots right now. It's constricted. There's a weight and something falling in my gut here. Oh, that's my fear. And I'm frozen stiff because I'm so scared of being abandoned. Oh man, there's this knot in my throat, this choking sensation. I'm always trying to hold down my expression because I'm afraid that I'm going to go combustible nuclear and blow everybody out of the waters here and everybody's going to leave me. My jaw is always clenching down because I'm so angry and I don't want to say anything. Try and notice where in the body these emotions live and just spend some time with it and try to relax into those feelings. You don't have to change them. You don't have to get rid of them. You don't have to fight them. All you want to do is just be with them and say, oh man, this is in my body. I feel it. It's always here. It's been with me my whole life. I'm going to pay attention to it and just listen to it and see what happens, usually in a very short amount of time as it really starts to relieve, coincidentally. So don't try and fix it. Don't try and change it. Just be with it.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely try that and see what happens. I'm excited to try it and see what happens. You know, because I'm always up to try something new. I'm like,
Give
you
it a try
know,
right now.
I've been doing it right now. Honestly, I've been sitting here
Yeah?
thinking about it. It's just been
Okay. Don't think about it.
Okay. Just
Tell me, where in your body do you feel it and what does it feel like?
it always comes from like the chest because it feels
Yeah,
like
that's a hot
like
spot.
it's just like the hot. It is the hot spot for me though. It's
Uh-huh.
like because my heart will start racing and things like
Yeah,
that, and I'll just
terrific.
start getting so worked up. That's usually where it starts. My heart will start racing. I'll start getting so amped
Yeah.
up, like my breathing
Get
starts
ready for a
picking up
fight.
heavy. Yeah,
Yep. Okay.
yeah. Go to that like proverbial flight or flight mode kind of thing, and that's
Yeah.
really what it feels like.
Okay. So let's take a moment. You can take 30 seconds. You can take a minute. I'm here with you. Just take some breaths, close your eyes, and just put your attention right on that activation in your chest. Again, you don't have to change it. You don't got to fix it. You don't got to get rid of it. Just go in there and just see it and just spend a moment with it. And if you notice that mind getting busy and coming up with the narratives and the stories, just notice that defense and come back to that feeling in your chest. And just keep your attention right on it. You might see how far back this pain goes.
That,
Yeah.
that's that was intense. Because when you said the mind thing, it's like when I started going in, it
Hmm.
started picking up a little bit, and I was like, "Ooh, it's okay." It's like I was telling myself, my inner dialogue, "It's okay. I'm not here to harm you." Because the instant thought is, it's like, "Oh no, defensive time. What's
Yeah.
going on? We don't like change. We don't like what's going on here." And my head was going like, starting
Hmm.
to try to create a narrative, and then it was like, "No, no, I'm not here to harm you. I'm here to let you know that I see you and you're being heard."
Yeah.
And it felt good after that. It felt a lot better actually. That my brain stopped trying to go into defense mode once it started realizing that I'm not a threat. I'm here to try and help.
Good. So in 30 seconds, it went from intense to it felt good.
Yeah,
Now, that's what you do right there. That's the practice I was talking about. If you can do that 3 times a day, even just for 5 minutes,
yeah,
what you're doing here is you're telling yourself, I'm important enough. I'm deserving enough. I'm worthy enough to be taken care of and to be feeling good. Because that good feeling is joy, it's happiness. I felt happy being paid attention to. I felt relief. And you got it in seriously 15 seconds. So just like that anger is right underneath the surface and super accessible, so is that joy.
yeah, yeah. It is. It's gonna be an adventure. I already feel it, and I'm excited. I think that it's nothing but positives are gonna come out of it. Trying to
Yep.
And I mean, like I said, I'm gonna shoot for at least do 5 minutes at least 3 times a day, and then try and increase it a little more, and just spend more time with it, and
Yeah.
because I like that feeling. That feeling was great. It felt great not to be so angry all the time about things, and just like little things just like tick you off, or just
Oh,
like
so angry all the time.
you know what I mean, like Hulk. It's like
Yeah.
Hulk smash kind of thing,
That's
So
exactly what I was doing right there. in Ragnarok, when he was like, I'm just so angry all the time. Yeah, that's right there. It's in. I get it, man.
right.
I
Well,
get it.
as we start wrapping up this episode, Julian, thanks so much for being here, man.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you something though. I ask all my
Mhm.
guests the same question. If your mental health had a song, what would that song be? I'm really curious to hear your answer.
Uh, it depends on, are things flowing easy
However you want to
and
break
really
it down.
flowing,
I'm
or
interested how
is
you
is
break
it
this
during?
down.
Okay, so if things are, I'm really engaging with it and I'm working with it, and things are happening. It'd probably be something like maybe "Give Life Back to Music," Daft Punk, or "Get Down on It," Cool in the Gang. Like this
Okay.
idea of dancing with life, engaging and participating in it. Maybe something like when I'm really hitting new plateaus or accomplishing things, and like I'm really living my path and I'm really engaging with it. It'd probably be like "You Say Run" from like My Hero Academia, like that
Okay.
really
Okay.
inspirational, motivational song.
Yep.
But to be honest, in the background, underneath all of that fluffy, nice stuff, is probably Eminem's "Kill You." Like constantly going on with that mad rage that's right there, like this part of me that's just so pissed about everything,
Yeah.
just always playing in the background. when I was just a little baby boy and my mama used to tell me these crazy things. She used to tell me my daddy was an evil man. She used to tell me he hated me. But then I got a little bit older and I realized she was the crazy one. But there was nothing I can do or say to try to change her because that's just the way she was. Right? That kind of music right there. I listened to that so much as a kid and it just spoke to me. And yeah, that part of me is still kind of playing that out. So it's always there. And yeah, we make choices on what we do with it.
That's awesome. I'd love it too. When you said My Hero Academia, I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely me and Julian just became best friends. Like, I just love
like
I love anime, dude. Anime is so great. Like people just don't get
Yeah.
it, but the OPs are the best part of most of them. Like
Oh yeah.
it just gets your blood pumping for some of them, and you're just like, all right, cool, I'm done watching.
Sure.
I'll go watch something else now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, those
So,
shonen shows the hero's journey, the
mhm.
accomplishing things and navigating the seasons of life. I mean, I think that's what we all relate
All
to
right,
so much.
let's ask you a nerd question really fast. What are
Yeah.
your top three animes? Like, if you could pick top three that you just would love always to watch, what would they be? I'm just curious.
Hmm.
It's a deep question,
So,
guys.
I mean, seasons 1 through like 5, I think, of My Hero Academia, in my opinion, go down as the GOAT.
Yeah,
It kind of got all. I didn't really like the last few seasons, but then Attack on Titan, like the social commentary from an Eastern culture's perspective of genocide and authoritarian regimes, incredible. Super intense, right? Like really, really. Oh, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can watch this, but man, the storytelling there, it's so relevant, and the patterns that they show you of the cycles of this world, incredible. Yeah, My Hero Academia, Solo Leveling. The
hmm
manga of that is incredible. I really, really enjoyed that. And Demon Slayer too. That's
yeah.
the
See,
fourth
Demon
one.
Slayer after the first season just ramped up right away. Like the first season was like you had to get through the first season, but it made sense because you got the backstory. Then the second one just went off the rails, and I was like, okay, never mind. Hang on, here we go. Because at
See,
first I
it's
had
it's
my
so funny.
misconceptions. I was just like, oh,
Yeah,
okay. But then after I got through the first season, like, oh god, this is so
yeah.
good. Keep going, don't stop. And then second season,
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh no, here we go. Yes, let's do this.
See, I love a good training arc.
hmm
I love when they face trials very early on and they don't have the skills or the tools to navigate it. And then they go into the training montage and they're saying, who I am right now cannot do the thing that I need to do.
Yeah,
So I need to become the person who can do that. And then they go and they train themselves to do it. And I just find that so inspirational because, I mean, look at what you're doing right now. This is a training arc. This is a training montage. It's saying, I want to be the person who can have enough internal emotional safety that people around me feel safe to express themselves and to be connected to me, namely the people that I've hurt in the past. I don't have that capability just yet, but I'm going to put in the effort, the energy, and the time to accomplish that. So when I see that in anime and I see the way that they're doing it, I'm just like, I'm going to go
right.
train right now.
That's awesome. Listen, where can they listen to your podcast, and how often do you release your episodes?
Yeah, I just started doing the podcast, so
Oh,
I'm
okay,
releasing them weekly right now.
okay,
Hey, if you ever want to come on and you want to
hell
work
yeah.
through some things like this, you're most welcome
I'm
to.
definitely down. You've got me this. Yes, I'm down. I'll definitely do it
Yeah,
with you, man. That'd be awesome. I
yeah.
think
I
it'd
mean,
be
basically, we do exactly what we did today. That's what my podcast is going to look like. Anybody who wants
okay.
to work through their stuff, that's the kind of thing that we're doing. It's not like I'm going to go promote my thing or I'm going to talk to you about this thing I'm doing. Now
Yeah,
it's personal. We do the work right there so
yeah,
people can see
definitely.
what it looks
No,
like.
listen. How can they reach out to you then if they want to be on the
Yeah.
show?
Website psychedelic-integration.net. The show is one thing. Like I said, we just started putting that out, and they're coming out weekly. So I'm more than willing to talk to people on there. Anybody who wants to do it, if you want to come on or anybody else,
Yeah,
just reach out to
definitely.
me there.
Sign me up. I'm up.
Yeah, we also have free groups every Friday of the month, different types at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So again, if you want to come through any of those, if
Okay.
you're working through something and you just want to come and chat for a minute, hop on. They're all free, and you can come and talk about what you're working through, and we'll do some of these exercises right there.
Heck
And
yeah,
if
I'll have to check it
anybody
out.
wants, yeah, please. And if anybody wants some personal one-on-one support, of course, that's the main thing I offer as well. So the website's great. Instagram's fantastic as well. We always post clips and videos of us talking and doing this kind of stuff too.
And with that being said, guys, we're going to end this episode of Pete for Society. Julian, thank you so much for coming, man. I had a great time. I will definitely come on the show. No questions about it. You know, we'll figure all the details about that, guys. And as always, I'm Pete for Anxiety. I'm on X all the way down to TikTok. I'm on Spotify all the way down to iHeartRadio. And as always say, it costs nothing, absolutely nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act you could do can save someone's life, or hell, you can make their day. I'm Pete for Anxiety signing off saying, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health today?